Good afternoon. We are in Rome, Theatre Ambra Ioinelli. We are going to interview Ivana Chubbuck. Good afternoon, Ivana.
Hello.
First, thank you for accepting my interview by Italian Book Club.
My pleasure.
Right. And let me introduce you, despite and although you are very famous worldwide, but just tell you who you are. And so you are the most famous coach of teaching of acting worldwide, especially in Hollywood, of stars and Hollywood stars. And you are the author of the book, The Power of the Actor. What is the power of the actor?
The power of the actor is a technique which is based on, instead of making emotion as its end in itself, which is like method acting, it's taking that same pain and trauma of someone's life and using that to fuel a way to overcome and win whatever the objective is. So it becomes something that becomes a resource. Pain becomes a resource to overcome and fix something or gain something, as opposed to a way to self-destruct. And I think that's just a good way to live life too.
And how and when you have this idea to, your method is quite a unique method, and your book is considered as a Bible of the actors. How and when you have this idea?
Well, I found that when I was an actor a long time ago, and I found that I was reading all the great books about acting, but most of it was very theoretical. And you can't really apply practically theory. So I said, someone needs to write a book on how to actually do script analysis, how to really break down a script, but a real practical guide. And so it was a process of many years, many rewrites. I would say a good 25 rewrites from what we saw originally. It was like this big. It was very dense and not very easy to understand. But so it went through process of a process to make it really available to a beginner, to an advanced person, and to a master's student. And so that required it to have to really rethink how to actually write it down so that it was a way that people could actually take it and actually apply it easily and not make it so complicated. And also I have a lot of personal stories in there about star actors, how I helped them using the technique to get an Oscar, how I helped someone with an audition that got them that star-making part, work that some of the stars did in class that helped them become the stars they became. So there's a lot of interesting, real behind-the-scenes Hollywood information, not the tabloid information. Because tabloids, they say someone shows up to LA, they get discovered on the street, and that's how they make it. But it's all about study, and all the big stars that I've helped make big stars, but all the stars that I have nothing to do with. It's about study, it's about being informed, and it's about taking the time to really be tenacious and take rejection as a reason to be fueled to get what you want in spite of anybody telling you can't get something. So you could always, here's the thing about dreams. It's like other people may tell you can't follow your dreams because you can't for
many
all
reasons,
these reasons, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? You have to say, screw you.
It's up to
because
you.
I want my dreams, and
It's
this is
up to
what
me,
I want,
right,
and it's up to you to just say, not to listen to that. And by using, again, my information in the book, it's like saying, take the negative, take the naysayers, and say, you know what? I'm going to prove myself in spite of you and because of you.
Right. So your unique technique method comes from the classical masters like Stanislavski and Meissner. What is the difference?
Meissner is total opposite technique. Stanislavski is the Russian guy,
right.
And he was all about personalization and recreating real, human behavior. Now he's taking it to the next steps to make it more about a win situation, so we're going to win something with it. Meissner is about reaction. I'm about being proactive. So Meiser technique is about, I hear and listen to the other person, and then I respond to that, and a truthful response. But my technique is about driving a scene, being proactive.
Right.
So it's like, I'm not going to sit and wait for you to give me something so I can respond. I'm going to give you something so you will respond. So it's proactive versus reactive.
So that's a difference.
Yeah, Meisner is reactive, I'm proactive.
So your book is divided in two parts. The first part is 12 tools, instruments, and you tell the stories and tales about the movie stars, Hollywood stars. And the second part, correct, is the training and exercise for the actors, aspiring actors, anonymous actors, or whatever, for achieving the goal, for playing, acting, and...
For like if you have to play drunk, there's an exercise to really feel organically drunk. If you have to play a heroin addict, there's exercise in there to make you really feel organically high on heroin. I worked with Beyonce in a movie. She had to play a heroin addict, and she used the exercise and really felt high. And if you watch the movie, she looks high. And it actually literally changes your pupils, the skin tone, because this exercise creates a reality that it's really, you really feel it. It's an exercise for cocaine, an exercise for alcohol, for marijuana, for LSD, on and on and on.
As you know, Rome and Italy during 1960s was the second country in the world for movie industry, and we had movie directors like Federico Fellini, Marcello Mastroianni, the actors, and Dolce Vita in Via Veneto. What about now, and if we have hope?
I don't know enough about the industry to say, well, I was going to say this, I don't know about the Italian industry, but I can say if you ever lose hope, then that's your problem. You should always maintain hope, because there's always hope in every situation. Until you die, there's always hope. And there's always light. It may be a small light, it may be a big light, but there's always light to go towards. And that's the whole thing about, don't ever let anybody say, well, we haven't made movies that are like the 60s in 40 years. But it doesn't mean you can't do that tomorrow, you know.
Okay. The last question, then I don't want to bother you more.
Oh, no. It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So, during a workshop last year, you have met Valentina Paterna, and you appreciated her, appreciated her talent. What did you find in her? What did you discover in her? What did you?
Well, I discovered that here's a person who reminded me very much of the talent of Charlie Chaplin. That you didn't have to hear her voice to respond to. There's vulnerability that is, there's vulnerability that creates a humorous end result, just like Charlie Chaplin. So it's like you'd see her, you'd watch her, but it wasn't about the way she talked, 'cause I didn't understand, and she doesn't speak English. But the audience responded to her before she opened her mouth. The moments that we were a scene from Bridesmaids where there's a lot of like part of it that she doesn't speak, and it was like she got the biggest laughs when she wasn't speaking, like Charlie Chaplin. But there was a vulnerability, that kind of sad tragedy in the eyes meets I want to win anyway. I want you to like me anyway, and the end result is got a classic comedy person to it.
Probably she's our hope in some way.
I think so.
Oh, thank you. So thank you for the interview, and thank you for your great book.
I thank you for acknowledging that.